I'm thinking I got this mass serpent wards up. I want to use it.
Yeah.
So a good you guys could smoke and go. Um, and on that journey would be a great time to ward the enemy jungle. So let's see what happens. So you guys do end up smoking. Okay.
Scanning for enemies.
I would so this is a ward you
E-
could place even if you weren't smoked, right?
Mhm.
Like you like YOLO, you run up here, you like ward it and you run away, right?
Mhm.
Because you guys are smoked, you know you're going in deep. I would hold it to place deep because that's something you can't do. Like when everyone's just chill and farming, you can't just like run this way ward and run out. You know, it doesn't really
Yeah,
work.
yeah. I think what I was worried about was, and again, it didn't play out quite right. I wanted to put the wall down first before we went up high ground, so that the
Mm.
smoke didn't pop instantly. It felt weird going up high ground without vision
Hmm.
when there could be someone there, but the
Hmm.
Slark was so much faster than me. I was too far behind.
That's a good
So
idea,
it,
honestly, especially if you're like the one leading. Um, but like, yeah, like you said, in this case, the others were already ahead, so it didn't quite work out. But it's
so
a good
Tusk,
idea.
so Tusk gets destroyed, Panga gets destroyed, and
Yeah,
I just like
not
I'm really out of ideas of
not the fight
what
we
to do. I'm
wanted.
just going backwards and forwards. I kind of realised that that Slark can get out,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
it's just like run for your life.
Yeah, I think that's the oops. I think that's the right idea. Especially once that was kind of a smoke gone poorly. And I can kind of tell you guys why here. So like, look at the minimap here. So we just play like they're all missing, and they are not doing Roshan apparently. So for one, having someone push bottom would be nice because now we don't need to force anything. Like this high ground spot, you have determined you were hoping someone would be here and you'd kill them. You
Yeah,
didn't
yeah,
get that. But it does mean that you've now confirmed no one's here. And if they approach this, so they could approach from here, they could approach from here, up here, like that's kind of good for you because you're on the high ground. Even though it's like the enemy side, like it's low ground to high ground. So that's why it would have been nice if someone was pushing this because now the one person pushing starts taking this tower. Maybe you ult it, and now they have to come to you. So even though you didn't find anyone with your smoke puts you in a location that now you can like wait, and waiting is usually a waste of time. Well, not if we had the lane pushing and now we start taking the tower. Um,
yeah.
so I think your lane is pushing in your favor, but it's going to be very slow, and actually it may not be. Because I think the enemy has a creep wave coming up. Oh no, it looks like it is pushing for you. So that's why this like that would have been preferable. But you guys like keep looking for a smoke, and this happens all the time. This happens in my game still. We're like,
Mm.
I hate this. I hate this so much. You start a smoke here, you like smoke, and you don't find anyone, but you feel like you've smoked, and you feel like you've committed so much time you have to find someone,
Yeah,
and then you run into their jungle, and then just like I said, oh, it's good because it's like high ground to low ground, like deal for you, and like that's why the scary like you even warded because you know the scariest part of coming up is the high ground. It's like okay, we've secured this area, but we didn't get what we wanted. We now go low ground and we take the risk again, and it's like it's so scary because you didn't find the goal. Like the reason we were willing to risk coming up high ground is because we're hoping five of us like we run into someone and we're disadvantaged by terrain, but we run into like two heroes. And there's five of us killing two heroes, and that's good. But then you don't find anyone. So you do it again. You take the same risk. But if there were no heroes in the bottom half of the map, there's a
there's probably going to be
very high
five.
chance there's five here. And yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
exactly. So now it's like you don't have a numbers advantage. You have a terrain disadvantage. You know you don't like if you had wards here, it's different. You clearly don't have wards, and they might have wards. So it's like a
Mm.
terrain disadvantage, possible vision disadvantage. You don't have an advantage in numbers, and so many games are thrown like this. I hate it so much when it happens, but I don't even know what to tell
So,
you because I can't even get my team not to do it. I'm like, guys, please don't go there.
do,
Just wait here.
do you have the space of mind in a game to think that? Because it's really interesting. Like me watching this back,
Hmm.
I can kind of, because it was only a couple of hours ago that I played it, I
Hmm.
can remember my thought process. But when you're if this was your game, your skill bracket,
Hmm.
and you've smoked, you've invaded the bottom jungle, haven't found anybody, is your instinct to say, "Oh, I've got a bad feeling about this. I'm just going to back out." Is that like an instinctual thing,
It,
or
it's a bit of both. Everyone has a different approach to it, and it's funny that this is something I see a lot in the interviews, because people, like, the interviewers will ask pro players, like, oh, do you do this based on like instinct, or like you've thought it out? And most of them will say instinct. But I
Hmm.
feel like that's not fully true. I feel like, especially in a game like Dota, I think instinct is built off of a bit of both, where it's like the typical instinct people are talking about, like just a feeling. But then I think like what we're doing right now is that with this infinite time we have, we are breaking down as many decisions, and I ranted for like 5 minutes about the smoke, right? Because we have as much
Yeah.
time as possible. In the game, this happened in 10 seconds, and you don't have time to go through all that. And so that's why, like, when
Well,
I watch these replays and I spend all the time like ranting and thinking about why it's bad, then I'm like put in the game, and in that short time, I don't think about the whole rant, but I'm like, man, remember that time I thought about it and how terrible it was to go up like this? It's like, yeah, let's not do that. So it's like a combination of like building instinct from experiences, but also spending a lot of time just like thinking about it in theory. That's like my opinion on it.
because honest to God, the thought process in game was someone's pop smoke. Let's hope we find Morphling down by his tower, get a kill, best possible case scenario you can ever think of,
Mhm.
and then win the game. And
Yeah.
there was nothing like, well, what do we do if we don't find someone? Like, I had enough thought to go, I don't want to walk up high ground, so I put a ward down, but it was too late by that point, which was a bit,
Mhm.
redundant.
Yeah.
But it was just like charge. That was the thought process. Right, we're smoked. Let's hopefully try and kill someone.
Yeah. Honestly, that's a decent approach, because usually in a lot of games you would find someone, and it's generally better to smoke than not smoke. But then yeah, the next level of that is to start like, okay, this is a bad smoke. This is a forced attempt versus like, this is a very like natural, well thought out kind of plan.
Would you hopefully have got deeper vision down earlier in the game to give you? So if we say we had that ward there now,
Mhm.
yeah, but it was deeper. So say it was on the middle island bit. I don't know what it's called, like where you normally put the
I just
ward.
call it like a cliff. I don't know. Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't know.
the cliff bit, right? And we
Mhm.
can see that there's nobody there, so we got good vision.
Mhm.
You just wouldn't bother smoking because you don't see them on your side of the map. You don't see them on their side of the map.
Mhm.
So it's like there's no point.
Probably 5
Or
here. Yeah.
probably 5 there, so don't bother. But then you see one lone person there, and you think to yourself, actually, yeah, it's worth the risk. There might be 2, 3 there, but we've got vision of at least one person there, so we'll try and gank him.
It would depend who I see. So like if it was some position 5 guy, I don't want to commit a smoke and like a 5-man rotation for him. But if I see
Yeah.
like a Morphling, and your mileage will vary on this, depending on your bracket. But like in my game, if I see like a Wraith King down here, it should just be the Wraith King. Like if there are a bunch of cores here farming, Wraith King hates that. You know, he would be pinging everyone. He'd like, get out of here. Like, go do something. Like, I'm farming this area. So at our bracket, we know like, okay, Wraith King is probably by himself, maybe with someone else in the area, but it's unlikely to have 5. The lower on the bracket you go, you know, it's like, yeah, maybe we got 5 of us farming these ancients. It's not efficient at all, but we're all here. um, so it's like, yeah, it kind of depends who you see, and that's why it's better to see multiple people if possible. That's also why it's really good to push out the lanes first, because then you'll usually find someone like, oh, one person defending mid, one person defending bottom, and I see one person here. Then like it really cuts down like the amount of people that could be in any location because you see them. And if you don't see them, it's like, well, they're not defending mid, they're not defending bottom. I don't see them in this ward. Like there's only like one other chunk of the map that they could be in. So
Got you.
as to like, so you said like, oh, I don't see anyone, we don't see anyone, would we smoke? Again, depends on your team. If you feel like you're really ahead and you can win a 5-on-5, and you think there's probably 5 people here, let's go kill them, then yeah, you could smoke to them. But if you're kind of behind, then what I would see is there's like nothing on the map, and I'd be like, okay, they're either all here or maybe they're all smoked. I'd be like, okay, this is our chance to like go push bottom. Like maybe even something I can do by myself because there's no one here. So it's like I'm not scared. And if someone rotates, I'm just position 5.